ha ha, it pedal. That S. Hey, me to me, except for here. Leader ceiling of one was pointed at something like a chimney of the stove, which is down from the corner, because is what is said to us. Except, a kai will go there, to the snout to bridge the bottom of the chimney is bent to the key of the hand. I tried to rely on the eyes. Then, how about this? In its cylinder, views toward the gate from the front door of the house. Not as reflected is pretty reduced. Man of the gatekeepers of the best. Faithfully seen clearly even the out of the gate is standing in the ring. It's the same trick that you and periscope to use in submarines. Then that one, I bet are more complex to break bent. No wonder, it was a necessary and non-strong electric lamp of light. But, of you I've ever seen as you I do not have enough even to half of the machine G over this house. Therein, except me there is also a mechanism that does not know anyone. After all, this is my true I because it is headquarters of, in addition to here, but there are some of a retreat of them, not just the temporary residents to deceive the enemy. Quote, then, Hovel of Toyama Keihara Kobayashi boy suffered someday be. What was the one house of the retreat of the hunt? It is one show you to be. I have my art room in the back. 20 countenances. In the usual top mood. I talk too much. Behind his comfortable chair if you look at, such as the large bank vault, the door of the complex mechanical G big iron over it. Yes and Shimeki, the Genju. I have 'em there are several rooms in the back. Ha ha ha. Surprised. The basement is the much wider than the house is built on the ground. Then, in the room of my life booty, I just like we're on display and classified properly. I'll show them. Still it does not display anything. There is also a room of empty. It is to it I'm supposed to enter is very soon Oodle's national treasure. You would also have read in the newspaper. A lot of treasure of example the National Museum of. Ha ha ha. Quote, since I had except for the enemy of another Akechi, their works of art is that it is as good as got just 20 countenances or else comfort up. Did laugh out Karakala and detective boys, because his wet Akechi detective does not come home even in the next morning. Empty home became a large commotion. Detective went out accompanied, because the lady of the address of the incident requester was yet refrain. When you examined it, we found that do not live something like that woman, and Satewa whether there was a work of 20 countenance people, is the first time I noticed their evening edition of each newspaper. In large heading, named Detective Mr. Koguro Akechi Obika not Monkey. Put a large photo of Akechi. Fresh writing this Shinji and Edogawa. Radio was also reported in detail this. Oh, our detective think to ask is became a captive of the bandits. Museum is dangerous. 10 million of citizens is rising mortification is my thing. Even here, even there, get together even people, and the other. Just rumors of this incident. Empty of all capital is capped to not say downright dismal. Anxiety of black cloud the way. Could not help not feeling. However, the not obika of the detective is I thought the most unfortunate in the world, was a boy assistant Mr. Yoshio Kobayashi detective, even if in the morning to witness waiting overnight. Also, waiting for a day in vain. Also came at night. The teacher will not be in your way. You say that it was as not obika 20 countenance in the police. Because the thing to report on the follow-up to newspapers and radio. Not only worried about after the body of the teacher, for the honor of the detective, Kuyashikute, and Kuyashiku, you unbearable. Moreover, Kobayashi you were in addition to his own worry. I had to comfort the wife of the teacher. There about Mrs. Truly Akechi detective, did not may leave the things like show the tears. Tatainu pale face with anxiety, and you see how you started to deliberately create a smile. In Germany the favorite, staring you do not or not. Wife okay. Teacher do you mind becomes something captivity of pirates. I'm sure the teacher, do not know of us. what I deepest stratagem is located in. So I'm late, it is so you leave. Quote, Kobayashi-kun is like that said. We comfort the partition in Akechi wife. However, does not mean apart there is a self-confidence. While you are talking, getting welled up, even anxiety and toward him. Even choppy words it did. Kobayashi-kun also detective assistant. Only in turn. Hand also is not out, even foot. Clue to know the hideout 20 countenance is not at all. The day before yesterday, the subordinates of the pirates are disguised as picture story show shop, but had come to explore the situation. I wonder if by chance today also suspicious person, not hanging around here. If so, and although I'm also today to explore the live house of bandits, the Ray of Hope, even turning look at the main street, and up to the off in the second floor. Not even the shadow of the person who seems to it, the better of bandits, because I had played a purpose of not Obika. You will not have to be the other things like that. That way to also open the second night of anxiety was that in the morning of the third day. That day, although I was just Sunday Akechi wife and Kobayashi boy, to the place that was over the lonely breakfast, there was a boy who jumped as Tepodama to the front door. Excuse, do you have Kobayashi you? It is my Hashiba. The children of screams was crystal clear, and try out surprised. Oh, there are. Hashiba Takeshini boy after a long time is. By the upper respiratory a pretty face in red. Stood gasping for breath. Definitely it looks in what has been running on the fly. Readers, gentlemen, as I am quite sure that I will not in the Yamoa you forget. This boy what? Someday set a trap to the home of the garden. Combined 20 countenance in a terrible eye. Is the son of Mr. that large businessman Hashiba Sotaro. Oya, I came to Keshi Kun is. Well, come on, let Letiguri you. Kobayashi-kun the Kones 2-kun of the younger just two from their own. And Itawa as brother or Nanzo. Led to the reception room. In it also a something old errand. If you ask Takeshi, two boys, in such as adult tone, could say such a thing. Akechi teacher. It was very. Will still do not know the whereabouts. I about it? I'm a little consultation. You know, from the time of day of the incident. I've worshipped you. And I thought I want to be like Bogamokimi. Then, the fact of you of work. If everyone in the story at school, I'm of the same thought that I had gathered even 10 people. So, everyone, I'm making a meeting to you boy detective team. Of course it's so as not to study or something of the way of the school. My father also, if not lazy, even school. I was smoked that will forgive me oh well. Today would be Sunday, because Monday, I take everyone. I came to visit SMB, who is ill to Kiminchi. And you, everyone in response to your orders. We in the power of the detective boys. Are you saying do not you try to find the whereabouts of Akechi teacher? Quote, when would much say in the breath, the Zhuang Tu-kun cute eyes, so as to gloat Kobayashi boy, was waiting for the reply. Thank you, Kobayashi-kun. A somehow become likely tears. Barely be patient. I grip the tightened Takeshi-ni-kun of hand. When you turned out to be of you guys to hear Akechi teacher as you. It's not may become. No matter how you joy. Yeah, please help me with you guys detective team. Let's find something clue everyone. But you guys will not let because I'm different with me. Be dangerous is done. If there is if things. Because I'm sorry to everyone's father and mother. However, I believe now is not at all dangerous with no detective method. Do you know of me, Kikakomi? And went around to hear the story of various people. I not miss with any little thing. I'm detective way to grab a good clue. Half-heartedly, something than adults. Tabashi, carp be better children. Because the opponent is off guard. I think surely go well. It is in it, the evening of the day before yesterday. A woman of physiognomy and dress began to take a teacher. And then because I'm also found direction made by the automobile. Toward the direction, we can I say do it the crowded listen now. To say even shop boys. to good in order taker cyber. Toka's postman's caught something children are playing in the around here. You ask around to Akazu. Here, even if you know the direction is, they are divided the way enough to be ahead. But it is hard to give an idea. It is okay because the number of people in many cases. Each time the road is divided, each alone. I say if you go to the better, then do it. The crowded herd today one day perhaps is something Clue might grasp. Quote, yeah, let's do it. Such a thing not divided, yeah. Well, do I also call everyone's Tanty Dan into the gate? Sure, go ahead. I also let's go out together. Then, the two of, after having to give a forgiveness of a catchy wife, I came to the place of the porch. And I think the Zhuang Tu-kun went suddenly fledgling out of the gate. Sure shortly, pulling a dozen detectives members Tay. We have turned back to Monanai. In terms of about elementary school upperclassmen, it was a light-hearted boy's healthy Kobayashi-kun. In the introduction of Kone's Tu-kun, from the top of the porch, was greeting everyone, and, for the means of a catchy detective investigation, it gave bits and pieces to order. Of course is everyone large favor. Kobayashi Grandmaster hooray, the other completely, and we got up festival in chief. Two of joy. There was even a boy crying such a thing. Well, let's now starting. And, everyone is like the Boy Scouts. A lined foot wave was going to disappear into the Y of a catchy house. Afternoon 4 o'clock. Brave a search of the boy detective team. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and use on Wednesday. The leisure of the school. But has been continued patiently. Even after forever. Did not grasp the clue that this. However, even in the adult policemen thousands in Tokyo, it is Nanjiken enough can do nothing. To say that was not Tegakarige. Never. Not the fault of the incompetence of the boy posse. And, these brave boys are not even those at a later date. Also not built what hand husk. Remains of a catchy detective whereabouts unknown. Is 10 days terrible December. Has been approaching day by day. People of the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department is a feeling you do not also have standing even here anymore. After all the goods that have been subject to theft, because we have National Treasure, Investigation Section Chief, or the like Nakamura, chief of which is related to the case of Direct 20 Countenance. It was thought that Yeso Zoru for worry. However, 2 days before the date of issue, in December 8th day, it once again was happening events, such as to increase the public uproar. This is because, in the Mainichi Shimbun of Social Tokyo of the day, letters to the editor of 20 Countenances was to have been published Reirei Shiku. Tokyo Mainichi Shimbun. Apart does not mean that Pirates of Institutions newspaper is their suggestion of 20 Countenance the person that is at the heart of this turmoil. We cannot not a problem. Immediately. Open until editing meeting. After all, we decided to put in its entirety. Although it was a long sentence if you mark barely scratches meaning. I will serve, but had been prior notice of 10 days in December, the day of the museum attack. It is better to promise more accurately, because he felt the more manly, in front of the Tokyo Taman gentleman here. Notice the time it is 10 days afternoon 4 o'clock in December. Museum length is also the Metropolitan also. I would like you to the vigilance of as much as possible. More vigilance as if Genju. My adventure will increase its shine. Quote, oh, you'll be what Japan alone to notice the pickled. Surprisingly is the boldness Moreover it had clearly announced a time. And, we have given to rude lay the attention to the museum length and the Metropolitan. Surprise of residents who read this does not have to Mosu. Until now, that there is such a ridiculous thing. Even people who have laughed, no longer laugh anymore, of the museum length at the time. Large senior of history world, but was Katakoji literature PhD. Even the Helluva old scholar, is not in serious notice of bandits no longer be had. All the way goes to the Metropolitan Police Department. The warning method, superintendent. It was a wide variety of meetings with the commissioner. No, you do not have a justice. 20 countenance of thing. Even in the cabinet of the topic of the Secretary of State how climbed among them, such as the Prime Minister and the Minister of Justice. Too much of a worry, and led the Metropolitan in a separate room. It is enough to give a word of encouragement. Then in one of the anxiety of all citizens, standing vain day, it became at last December 10 days. The National Museum, from the early morning that day, including the Katakoji old doctor director, 3 people of the chief, dozens of secretary, 16 people guard and small uses. To go to work does not remain alone. Department of each warning, it is at, of course, the day, and close the front gate, you are viewing prohibited. From the Metropolitan Police Department, the business trip is led by judiciously was Police 50 of Nakamura Investigation Chief. Museum of the front gate, back gate, around the fence, working hard in the hotel's pivotal points. Is no gap that yes the ant large vigilance team. Afternoon 3:30, slightly 30 minutes to be exhaustive. Vigilance team has been Sakita, Mono Monoshiku. Metropolitan Police Department large car arrived at. The Metropolitan has appeared in accordance with the Criminal Division. Commissioner is too much of a worry. I was no longer bare to sit still anymore. In Commissioner own eyes, if not watching the museum, it was no longer able to stand. Commissioner is after having visited a warning the first time of everyone. We met in Katakoji drive through the director room. Bothered, you did not think of us going out. I'm afraid. When the old doctor greeting Commissioner was Mize laughing a little embarrassed. Were you likely? No, but is that you're embarrassing? It is not need to sit still. Just a matter for one thief. And must do so much fuss. Indeed is a shame. Since Eagles entered in the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department, such terrible it is the first time that has received a shame. Quote, well done, old drive laughing without force. I is also true, for the thief of that colt. Things that 1 week, I because I Nikki suffering from insomnia, but, I is about another peak at 20 minutes. For example, Mr. Katakoji, in between surely 20 minutes. Beating the Genju vigilance. Nanny steal a lot of art, even in much which, do my uarum feed a little difficult. Quote, I do not know. Eagle do not know is that the witch is in. But I just think that it Carrere by 4 o'clock as soon as possible is gone. Old drive, said in angry, such as tone, too much of it. Will's also annoying to talk 20 countenance. 3 people in the room. Could only be staring it fell silent at alone with it. Just the walls of the watch. Goldbraid was wrapped in Ikameshi uniform. Fine physique of the Metropolitan is Sumotori. In a medium build. Beautiful criminal director of 8 characters beard. Katakoji drive of white hair Hakuzen that lean like a vine in a suit wearing. The and 3 people have sat in the comfortable chair, respectively, and the shimmering. How you are looking at the needle of the clock, rather than monoshi. Something strange was the sight which is not Suguwa in place. Then when the 10 minutes has elapsed, the criminal director that could withstand the silence, got off to a sudden mouth. Oh, Akechi it is. I guess is what the hell. No I am, but I had to get to know the man. I is very much wonder. Be considered from the experience up to now. Not a man to do this kind of blunders I but, quote, in its words Commissioner is as Niji Mahiru the fat body, saw the face of subordinates. You guys are, and Akechi, but like refers to such things as are in worship that man. I guess I beg to differ. No matter how Helluva say, or, how much of that mere not a one private detective but so to have been said. Such as Mizuru captures 20 countenance in what one of the forces that can. Kogan Yotu, of this time failure will jaro good medicine is that man. Quote, is. But when you think about it until the achievement of the Akechi-kun. Categorically I cannot be good even so. I understand that now was also talked to Nakamura-kun outside. Such sigh. We hope you hear from me is that man. Quote, when it was a not and our words of criminal director are ends. The door of the director chamber is opened quietly. A single person has appeared. Akechi is available to you here. With a laugh, that person is smiling. It said in voice through well. Oh, Akechi-kun. Quote, criminal director cried and jumped up from the chair. It is attached to the perfect and only a good black suit of the cuckoo. The hair of his head was matted. Was Kogoro Akechi the person? Not when the tiles. Akechi-kun, why? It will talk later. Now, I have a thing more important. Of course we do not as not for sake of the theft of works of art. No, it's too late for you. Visit may leave. Promise of time has passed. In the words of Akechi, director also, commissioner also, criminal director was also all at once and looked up at the wall electric clock. Indeed, the minute hand icer passed the place of the other 12 o'clock. Oh my god, then 20 countenances. To the do not, cite or not lied. Apart abnormality seems no, but, oh, that's right, 4 o'clock in the promise I was too. I still was not able to mess around. Criminal director cried so as to raise the kaiga. No, burglar was to protect the promise. This museum is also true the other empty. Akechi, it has said in solemn tone. Name detective violence. For example, you've got to say something. Is not no palm had something been anything stolen? With the just. I only just been around and seen much of the display chamber in the and museum around the policeman of 50 is arranged. Cops of my place in it because I'm not blind. Quote, Metropolitan is glared at Akechi. I was shouting to Harada Tashi up. However, it has been completely stolen. 20 countenance have used the example's magic. When you not the let's examine the go wisho. Akechi is replied quietly. I've got that you were indeed stolen. Well, let's examine everyone. Director. Whether to say of this man really is not that let's go anyway to display chamber. No way, because I do not think even the Akechi is going to lie. We commissioner was also in the mood to try once investigated. Would it is good. Come on, Katakoji teacher also let's come to you together. Akechi while Homikaki smiled to the old director of gray hair Hikuzan, it has prompted. So, 4 people, when leaving the director chamber Surita, but went toward the main building of the display field in the hallway Sutai. Akechi took her hand as carrying the rotai of Katakoji director. Stand at the top it did. Akechi-kun, if you are not it had seen a dream. Where do not you not abnormal also? As soon as entering in the display field, the criminal director cried. Indeed, as it says the director. In the glass of the display shelf is a national treasure of the Buddha is not side by side with Zura, is to avoid even a part missing goods. Is this? Akechi is pointed to the display shelf of the Buddha, while meaning hair and barb look at the face of the director. We spoke to the guard that stood there. Pearl River me opened the glass door. Guard is, but did not know look at the Kogoro Akechi. Because what it along with the director in the Metropolitan, in accordance with the instruction, in the gi, which had immediately, a large glass door, was opens with the rattle. Then, the next moment, it was going to be quite strange. Oh, Akechi detective, did you also different in the gas? And I think when entered into the wide display shelf, and among them, most large, close to the wood carving of the ancient Buddha statues. Suddenly, a good arm of the cuckoo, not the broken poken. Moreover, that the quick 3 men of the people, taken aback, also forget to stop, during which I'll look at the eyes of the same shelves, the only of the 5 Buddha national treasure even this none, and from the next to the next, in one of the quickly, we have to blemished, not stick one and all of the irreversible. Some are folded arms, some are torn off the neck, some are being torn off a finger. Is also tragic plight see. Akechi-kun, to do. Hey, do not go. Yosanka. Surgeon General and the Criminal Director. Flowing hear the yell in unison. Akechi is in fly out the whip and display shelf. Also, more to near the old director is the best. To grasp the hand. To smile are you laughing? Hey, Akechi Mr. Heck. I do of what was. Wildly or not it is about even. It's only just the most valuable national treasure even in the museum. Criminal director who happened to become the Mecca is swung up both hands. Is the plight of just to at any moment Sukamakakar to Akechi. Ha ha ha. This is I'm attached to the where are your eyes dat national treasure. Please look good. The wound of the now Buddha that I was twofold. Please well investigated. The tone was full of confidence of Akechi. Criminal director. As the hash, close to the Buddha, was turned looked at the wound. Then, what about, is Moga the neck? From the wound after it has been folded a hand. They bear little resemblance to the old-fashioned shades dark of appearance. Still vivid white but and is, or does not have except, the sculpture of the Nara period. There is no going to like this new material is being used. Then you are, if this Buddha is that it is fake. Even is, yes, to you. As long as there is a little more art not even to try cook there such a wound. It should have been found to glance at the fake, making imitations anew would. The paint from the outside it was seeming like an old Buddhist statues painted. If only put into the hands of imitations professional craftsmen, we cannot divide it. Quote, Akechi was described Kataminagini, Katakoji's. This is exactly, would be at the National Museum of Display Products. Nanny's bright red fake, Metropolitan was good to taunt the old director. I was amazed. Is that the unstoppable? Taken a hand in Akechi. Old doctor had days standing as while upset were answered as Tarikakushi. To there. I heard the commotion. 3 people of the staff came hastily. One of them is an expert in ancient art appraisal, but was the one who has served as chief of the district. And a look at the broken statue of Buddha. Cried noticed truly quickly. Up. This is all imitation. However, it is strange. Until yesterday. Certainly real I was put here. Yesterday afternoon. Because I went into this display shelf. Mistake there is none. Then, that was real until yesterday. Today suddenly, it's because was change and fake. Do not strange. Hell. This is of what was. Commissioners in facial expressions, such as pinched to the fox we looked around the everyone. Would you like to know you yet? That is, in this museum, completely, is that it has become empty. Akechi while say this, I pointed to another of the display shelf of other side. Do not for good sake. Then, you are, criminal director, was built involuntarily Tonkyo voice. Librarian of the best is. Whether he realized the meaning of the words of Akechi, approaching the front of the determinedly in its shelf, so as to stick a face to the glass, was staring at the over side-by-side dark Buddhist paintings in. And, it did that cried quickly. Oh, this is also, there is also, director, painting in this is something to everyone. Thing was to not remain one. Pearl River me examine the other shelf. Fast. Needless to wait for the words of the criminal division. 3 people of staff, while screaming something unanimously, and from the shelves as a gas difference to the display shelf, was Mawari Pete. This is fake. Noticeable artworks. None of this is also a completely imitations. Then, they are to roll. But we went down to the downstairs of the display field. After a while, when you come back to the original 2nd floor, number of staff has been increased to 10 or more people. And, even anyone. Are you resentful become the other red? Below the same thing. All that is left is just boring thing. Valuables that valuables. Completely as a fake. However, director. Now also I had to talk with everyone. There is no other that indeed wonder. Until yesterday. Certainly. I did not have one anti-imitations. Respective ones of the charges. The point has to affirm with confidence. It is. within a single day. Art that large and small 100 many points goods is. I had like a magic, instead of the fake. Quote, staff is cried as stepping on the Jidanda to chagrin. Akechi-kun, for even if we are also Dagai, it seems to have been fairly done. Commissioner, has looking back the name detective in analgetic Omamochi. Yes, museum, it was Todatsu for 20 countenance. It is as you would like to say show. Among the large texts, Akechi only, without also was distraught even a little. We did have smiled to the lips. Then, to much of the blow, the old director to look whether there is no power to stand. And so bald, he had been grasped firmly the hand. Exposure of a trick, is, but in Watashi-kyo, I do not know very much not. There only works of art. In between of just one day, Nanny illegally replaces a fake. Not that being the work of man. Well, more of the fake is, before from the front, to come to the viewing garbled inner something art student. If we write a pictorial, but there is no cannot be imitation. It's the why was swapping is a problem. I do not know why exactly. Quote, staff has tilted frequently kokubi as butsuka, even to like difficult math problems. Until yesterday evening, certainly, it I were all real. When the commissioner will visit, member who is a state full of confidence. It's another, there is not never mistake. And I answer in unison. Then, perhaps per the middle of the night last night, those 20 countenance gang somehow is. Shirani be that crept to here. No, such a thing is. There is not supposed to be. Front gate also back gate also be around the fence. The policeman of the large tax. It was smoke that we have seen in the night. Also the hotel. Last night the directors when the 3 men of night duty personnel. I had Tsumeki much. Duck in its sensual look at Hari. That numerous works of art. White Ari brought. Or is what can out carry. At all in the work of man you cannot. Quote, staff was good only. I do not know. Quite strange but, however, the guy 20 countenance. I did not have a man as was Kogan. In advance. Keep been replaced with the fake. Come on. Because stole this is. 10 days notice Nanti afternoon 4 o'clock is it because it is totally meaningless. Quote, criminal director Takuya Shimagure did not try to say also such a thing. But it was not never meaningless. Kogoro Akechi was called to be a defense if he were 20 countenance. He and the old director Katakoji drive, or else as good friends. Much. I remained that had gripped the hand from the best. Who? I was not meaningless it is exactly, I'm a mean by that. Metropolitan is curiously looking at the face of the detective, I asked. Refer to any. Then Akechi is closer to the window, I pointed to the autumn land at the back of the museum. Until 10 days around me is December, because the secret that had to wait is what is there. In the autumn land, from the time museum founding. But old as the Japanese currency of staff duty room had been built. It is no longer needed. Ended a few days ago. Including the demolition of houses. The othermost. Also demolition old wooden, like roof straws. You over there piled up over here. I'm demolished the old house. However, the case of long and 20 countenance. Heck, I have a what of the relationship. Criminal director saw the Akechi so I was surprised. What relationship do? Or anyone Jiki Wakari Masu I. Sorry to trouble you, but to Nakamura Inspector you were in. Brought a policeman who was the turn of noon back gate today. Us to come here hurry as such. Please do not tell either. Quote, to the order of Akechi. One of the staff is. While unexpected no is not something. But I went down to the downstairs on the fly. It came back with a policeman soon Nakamura investigation chief and alone. Kimi, are you who were at the noon back gate? When Akechi will ask immediately. Police officers, because it is what it is before the commissioner. And formal badly, in an upright immobility of attitude. Replied, yes, in between from today noon until 1 o'clock. A single track, would have seen the exiting the back gate. Ha has become to ask as if not that of the truck loaded with old timber that demolished a house. That's right, if it was a certainly. Policeman, I happened to that old timber, unexpected said that is the countenance of the just. Did you know you is the kind of magic of bandits. Seemingly have looked like just old wood. The real, in that track, works of art stolen each other and embarked everything you know. Akechi's turning look at the everyone, was the exposure of a trick amazing. Then I called minions of bandits had been mixed into the labor of demolitioner. Nakamura chief was reflective listening by crackling the eye. That's right, mixed rather than had been. Might the laborer everything was the minions of bandits. 20 countenances early ready for all set. I was waiting for this great opportunity. Demolition of houses. I was started from December certainly 5 days. Its launch date is from before April also in March. Would have been known to the parties. That way, around 10 days just as not that falls on the day of old timber strokes out. The day pickled that notice of December 10 days. I was DOSA split from this kind of place. Also because 4 p.m. Nest of pirates properly the art of genuine and got taken to the shoes. Did you mean the time that no problem even if the other fake is found? Quote, oh, I would have been prepared careful planning of what? 2 to 10 countenance magic. At any time of the time. The gimmick of thought not be short of ordinary people. It is prepared properly, but Akechi-kun, for example, even be able to begin to carry in such a way, is still bandits, or entered quite a display room. Unnoticed. Mystery of whether was replaced with the real and the fake is. It does not solve. Criminal director says so. Kaneru believe in the words of Akechi. Replacement, we did in yesterday's late at night. Akechi will continue talks in tone, such as that everything Shirinui. Laborers whose subordinates were garbled of bandits. When you come to work here every day, the art of the fake was put carry little by little. Painting is rolled thin. Buddha is decomposed hands, feet, neck, in the package but rather a cylinder and separately. If I bring together and carpentry tools. Diction suspected there is no everyone, because we are wary just be stolen. So it does not something attention to those bring. Then, forged products everything, obscured the mountain of old timber. We were waiting for the last night of late at night. Quote, but, it was replaced to the display room. Laborer us. All is not that would return in the evening. Even if one of them what people. Even though secretly left on the premises. Enter wide a display chamber it can. Night is completely the entrance will be closed. The hotel, directors and 3 men of the night duty personnel. Had Hasin not sleep a wink. As not note of the people to. Nanti replaced that a lot of goods. Is not that absolutely impossible? Quote, one of the staff was indeed most questions. In addition but, is indeed a fearless means. I had been prepared, because last night of the 3 persons of the night watch members. This morning, Will went back to the home, respectively. 1 phone call to the home of the 3 people over. Whether my husband got home. Please try to make sure. Quote, Akechi began to say that strange even if also the 3 of night duty personnel, who also did not have a phone. So call phone leads to merchant in the vicinity of each. And one of the staff will try over immediately phone. All 3 people. Last night since we found that you have not yet returned to the home. In the home of night duty personnel who, because it is again of such incidents, even today, and probably have been detained. I called I was at ease. The other 3 people from out of the museum, to stand even 9 hours. Altogether is also set, because not yet go home. Is not that a little strange? Last night was the night. Is because was tired. Never play around it not and I am quite sure that I will not have. Why 3 people did not go home. This means as you can see that, quote, Akechi is also keep in turn seen as guru, the face of everyone. It went on the words. There is no any other. 3 is I was not Obika for 20 countenance a little bit. For example, is not Obika? It's time things. Staff has cried. Yesterday evening. In order to 3 people will serve as the night shift, respectively, is a place that was out of the home. For example. So, what is a feature of the evening? The 3 people who were last night here. It was subordinates 20 countenance. True of night duty personnel keep tucked into the den of pirates. But instead I subordinates of bandits has served as a night watch of the museum. We'll talk of no reason Nanti. Thief is because I was served the turn Hari scene. Nanti replacement of the art of fake. It was that indeed there is no difficulty. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the vending flaps 20 countenance. That there is also likely to be the work of man. In the work of the little head, it pulls off to comfortably. Quote, a catchy detective, ask him to homaguru a good 20 countenance of the head. As much painful wrist director Katakoji old doctor had hand in hand. Was grasping tightly. Well, there is or was the minions of bandits. Was ya careless. Eagle was ya careless. Old Drive shook the Hakuzen. Was groaning in her else mortification likely. And both eyes Suryaga, face turned pale, are forms of the terrible anger also see. However, Old Drive, Will was not able to break see why the 3 men of fake person. 20 countenance if insidiously that 3 people of minions is. Nanti had disguised very well as do not know to director. Is to not be considered. Nanti Katakoji Drive will some people are so deceived comfortably. I think a little strange. Thief capture. But Akachiyu, Metropolitan, as had been waiting that the explanation is over, asked to Akachi detective. You are like, so that you own as even was 20 countenance. There has been in detail explained the order of the ablative stolen works of art. It is everyone, I guess you imagination or something also certainly grounds I do. Quote, of course, not in the imagination, I in this here. From subordinates 20 countenance, I learned to listen to any of the secret. Now, I have just asked me, for example, for good sake, whether you met the men 20 countenance. Earth, where, why, quote, indeed of the Metropolitan also, within this unexpected is, I have been amazed. I met at the hideout of 20 countenance. Commissioner your excellency, are you? I would know that it is not Obika for 20 countenance. Think so also in the world in my home. Also wrote so, newspaper had been. However, there is. If I say the truth, I was only in my stratagem. I was not softening has Obika, and rather become the ally of bandits. Not Obika of a person it takes about have done to help the. To be continued. Thank you for your viewing. If you like please subscribe to the channel. I am very encouraged.